to part 3 of our series on getting something ready to dye sublimate onto our t-shirts. Okay, so we've been through some image tracing, we've been through some different styles of type layout, and now we start to need to refine things a little bit more. Okay, so let's have a look here. We need a bit more type on our logo, and I haven't really got anything particularly worked out for this, but we can soon get something. So what am I going to do here? Let's copy this ring here. Oops. I'll just Command C, Command V. Except that is not quite the one I was after. Let me just zoom in a little bit more here and get a little bit more serious about what I'm doing. Okay, so I want this one. That's the one that the type sits on. So I'm going to copy it, I'm going to paste it, and I'm going to, just for starters, I'm going to pull it away from the logo. Now, one good way of doing that actually is, while I've got things happening, is we go under Preferences, General, and providing we're working in millimeters, I like to smash out, I always try to use 5, 10, 50, 100, 500, 1000 increments of kind that I know what they'll be, that are nice and regular. In this case, I'll use a 100 mils keyboard increment, and then what it means is I can push things in and out of the center, and I find it saves me working with layers. So we can work with layers just like you can in Photoshop, and that's pretty good, but I also find that it's sort of very much, what I'll do is I'll just select that type again. When you work in layers, it just holds you back all the time. So I'm going to copy, I'm going to Shift Command V, paste in exactly the same location, and see what I can do is I can pull a piece out, work on it, and then I can push it back in again. And I find that's a lot faster than, go up the layers, is it locked, is it not, whatever. I like locking layers for some things if I'm working over the top and I don't want to touch things. But when I'm just kind of messing around with things, I don't like being too slowed down by the by the way that layers work in Photoshop. So I'm going to grab that, I'll hover over it till it turns black, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put my type inside it, which is a bit different to what we were doing before. So we're on the outside, which means I will have to actually beef up the size of this ring, but that's okay, it's easy to sort. So I'm just going to go to my type tool, and I'm going to just click on that, and I'll put, since, oops, and I'll better spell it properly, since 1976. Okay, that'll do. And so I'll come back to my type. I'm just going to move it around a little bit to get it sort of reasonably square, and then I know that when I push it back, just using a couple of pushes on my arrow keys, it's all going to just fall into place. So then I can just sort of hold down my Option and my Shift, and I can scale this up, and I'll scale it up so it sort of sits about there somewhere, and I can take my type, and I can then basically just down the point size up here so that it starts to fit into where it's supposed to be. And I will now, whoops, I'll just click on that type, and I can move it around a little bit. And it's actually proving to be a little bit hard to do there, so what I'll do is I'll just push it across here, and then I can grab my white tool here, and I can just bring it around a little bit. That's cool. Excuse that phone. And okay, so we're getting pretty close. We could be a little bit closer. Okay, that's okay. All right. I'm using the same font top and bottom, but you might like to use, something that's a little bit more interesting for the since 1976. So you might like to slam in, like a script type or something like that, just to give it a bit of action. Um, this is a little bit straight up and down, but it'll do for the demo, I think. Okay, so we're starting to get our logo together. We'll start to need to think about color combos now, and basically what the backgrounds are going to look like, etc. So, in order for this to work, let's get in and start to have a look. So, because we're working in dye sub, we can run full color however we want. We're working dye sub on a white t-shirt. So let's get a bit serious about this. Okay, first thing I don't mind doing here with these when we're working in this kind of rondelle style is they often use a bit of optical illusion, like things are being cut apart. So we need to think about how how things are going to work. So a lot of times I'll just start to fill with a bit of color just so that I can get a feel for, see how this car graphic, it's got parts of it are see-through here. So this kind of like what should be white is showing through to the pink, so it's kind of cut away. But then other sections have got kind of these white patches on them. So it's worth just kind of like pop a color underneath, and you can start to get a feel for where things are at as far as the logo goes. So you can see here, I can see through this bumper bar, and I can see these lines underneath, which is a bit kind of like, yeah, probably not super cool. And I can see that pink, and I don't really want to see that either. Okay, there's a few different fixes for it, but in something like this, I don't mind. Just grab this tool here, which is our Bezier curve tool, but I'm just going to sort of draw over the top. Look at this. I'm coming around, being pretty dodgy. I'm not really caring too much, and then I just kind of click back. So I've created myself this sort of patch. Okay, just like before, I can send it to the back. I can go Object, Send, Arrange, Send to back. Okay, but it tells me the keystroke as well. So let's use the keystroke because it's more fun. I'm going to go Shift, Command, square bracket, see you later. Okay, it's gone right to the back. Gone further than we probably wanted it to. So we can use our command and we can use our square brackets, and we can start sort of like bringing it forward a few, and you can see that it oops, we'll just go back one more. Okay, so we can kind of like organize where it sits in the stack. So we've got a little bit more of an interesting kind of, we've got all white through the bumper bar there. We need to fix this boot up. Boot was one of the main features of this car. It was designed in the UK, as far as I know, and they thought Australians required a 44-gallon drum of fuel in the boot. They thought that was pretty normal, so that's what they made the most ugly-looking boot anyone's ever seen on a car. But so we better put that back in there as a major feature. But we're starting to fill this in. So we might look at this roof line as well at the same time. So I'm going to use again my Bezier curve tool, and I'm going to start out about here, and I'm going to start coming around. I'm actually going to start adding some curves here. Now this is the trickier part of using Illustrator, is how these Bezier curves work. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to draw behind all of this sort of roof shape, and I'm going to join it back up, and I've created now a patch. I'm going to command square bracket, just send it back a few layers at a time, until I get something like that. Okay, so that's pretty good. I can see that I've made it a bit chunky on this corner here, so I'm going to grab that with my direct selection tool, my white one. I'm going to bring that down just a bit. Ugh, it wants to snap a bit, but that's all right. Okay, so we can see now the car's starting to sit a little bit more three-dimensionally in front of that graphic, which is good, I think. We may even twist it around a bit more later on. And we better have a look at that boot shape. So it sort of comes up, and I should really look at the original, but I'm not going to for now. I'm just going to draw this in. well, look, it's picked up this really, these colours we don't want. Okay, so that's cool. We've got our swatches open, so we'll click on white. Okay, we want white and we don't want any black, so I clicked on the stroke shape. And again, Command, send it to the back, bit by bit, until we get something that's sort of worthwhile. I might even, didn't mean to do that. You can hit escape to get out of that drawing mode in the pen. I might even just turn that black. So yeah, so it sort of like becomes, well, I've sure got that looking chunky. So now I'll just use my direct selector tool, and bring that back in a bit so that we're starting to look like it should do. Okay, I'll tune that up a bit more later on. I'm pretty sure that that's like out of whack. That'll do. Okay, so we've got our P76 sitting there on our logo. That's cool. And let's have a look at some of this type now. So type is black, lines are black, you know, it's a lot of black here. So maybe let's start to work on a bit of a color scheme. Now, if you're not sure about color schemes, get onto something like Colors on the Web, and it'll let you start to design a color scheme that will, that'll, you know, sort you out. So whenever you're unsure about color schemes, look at objects that you think have interesting color schemes. Have a look at why you think those colors might work. Maybe go and stick them into something like Colors on the Web or Adobe Color Selector. They've got a web-based tool. You can check those out, and it'll suggest other colors. You like lime green. It'll suggest other colors which will work with that. So, just roll with it when it comes to dealing with colors. What I'm going to do is maybe for this that's not good. You've got to make sure you select what part you want to work on. So I want to work on the stroke. That's good. And I'm going to bring up these swatches, and I'm going to make these like that. Okay, so I've got some magenta lines. I think I might make it kind of like a yellow, a magenta cyan kind of like yellow type of and black. So it'll be maybe that'll be my color scheme. Okay, we can see the center of this, not looking very interesting. It's just a solid magenta. Let's go back to our swatches here, and we can see there are actually some gradients in here, which can be quite interesting. And I'll click on a couple of these. Yeah, okay. We've got a gradient. We've also got our gradient tool. So let's bring that up. And you can see here that when we click on our gradient tool, we've got the ability to move it, type in properly, 90 degrees. Okay, 180 degrees. That's not what I wanted. I just wanted like 90 degrees. Yeah, and then you can start to adjust the look of your gradient, which is cool. Okay, so this looks a little bit more three-dimensional now. We've got sort of our orange to yellow. I don't know if that was really what I was after. It looks okay, but let's come down to this kind of like swatch libraries here. Swatch libraries, and we can go here to there's lots of good stuff, but we'll see that there are gradients, and there are plenty here: spectrums, tints and shades, vignettes. Let's go have a look at brights. Okay, these are not too bad. So I didn't want textiles, and you can drop these in here if you want. Get a bit of a feel. Is it good? Is it not good? I don't know. Ooh, that's all right. I'm reasonably happy with that, I think. Okay. When you've got this selected, we're able to move the center points of these gradients to wherever you want. Okay. We can continue to rotate the gradient, and if you click on one of these colors, it'll bring up a bit of a dial, and you can select a different color for that if you wanted to, but that's okay. I'm happy enough with the tint of that. And what am I going to do with my type here? So yet again, I've got another element. I'm sort of not totally unhappy with the look of that type at the moment. I might go right off, and I might even pop in a pure yellow tint into that, and I might send it to the back, okay, so that everything's sitting in front of it. Oof, I don't know about that. It's looking a bit harsh. Black and yellow, it's a pretty hard combo, I think. I'm not loving it. Okay, so all right, let's get some color on this tie. Purple, that's all right. Yellow on this could be okay. A little bit, just maybe just a touch. Let's just throw in that purple again. That's okay. It's sort of sitting in the same color range as what we've got. That's cool. And so we can see our logo starting to, come together. It's looking a little bit interesting. Still needs a few more elements. We could add some kind of like stripes to the sky. This gradient in the background could start to make things a bit more interesting. I'm not really liking, I want this car to be sitting, cracking the logo apart a little bit more. So I think for that, what I'll do is I'll just create myself another white patch here. And I'll make it white. And then I'll start Command, sending it to the back. There we go. So now we can see that that white patch is blocking. If it looks right, it's right. That's the mantra of the Illustrator kind of designer. If it looks right, it's right, and let the post-production people or pre-production people sort out if it's got any kind of like technical issues. But try and build it pretty right, so that it's not going to completely fall apart, but get it looking right, so the client can get a look at it, and you can tune it up, and then later on, if it's needs some work, you can spend the time to fix up the final thing. Okay, these lines here, they're looking a bit El Dodjo. The black again is too harsh. Let's I don't know, what are we going to do with those? Let's have a look at this line type here. We've got a few ones here. It's a little bit kind of like, I've never been the biggest lover of the way this works, but it's all right. So let's pull this down. We'll select a bit of a dodgy looking kind of stroke effect. Set it at maybe a 0.4. Ooh, I forgot the point. 0.4. Otherwise it looks a bit ultra harsh. That's okay. And then we might just sort of like, I don't know what color we want with this. Let's have a look. We might pop it down into the, say, into the grey region here. That'll do. That's cool. I'll just go okay to that. That's pretty decent. I'll delete that one. What I'll do is I'll just copy, Command V to paste it in the same place. I'll be lazy. I'll hold down Option and Shift, and I'll bring it up in size a bit, like that. That's cool. Oh yeah, and one of the things about these Illustrator types of pen lines is they appear in the same place. So I'll just like rotate it 45 degrees, and it'll just throw people off the scent that they're exactly the same thing. And that's looking okay. I might just check that my type has come all the way to the front, so that those lines are sitting underneath, and they are, but oof, look at what's going on there. We've got to bring that up forward a little bit. So let's push this back a little bit more. Square brackets, Command square brackets. Yeah, now I can just do it layer by layer till it disappears behind this white patch that we made before. Ooh, that's looking a bit dodgy as well. I'll bring that one all the way to the front. I'll just cheat. That's okay. I wasn't very happy with that boot shape either. It was a little bit too high. Yeah, that's better. And that just probably comes in just a bit more. It's a really ugly shape. Yeah, that's looking more like P76. Okay, so we've got our logo starting to work here. We've got some sort of interesting things, but one of the things that makes these sort of logos work is to start adding kind of outlines on top of outlines, and getting things happening. So what I'll do here is I'll copy this one, Shift Command V, I'll paste that in, and there's a couple of techniques here, but this one I'm just going to go Option Shift. I'm going to drag it out a bit, okay, just a little bit, and I'll make that a black, and I'll bring down the weight a little bit. That's cool. That's a bit too light. Something like that is good. So we just got a little bit on the outside, and then we'll do the same on the inside. Command V, and then we'll just get rid of that fill. We don't want that, do we? Maybe we do. Maybe we do. So let's have a look. We'll see how it looks. Okay, so let's pop in a black fill. Black, and let's pull that point size right down so it looks the same as the sort of outside one. Yeah, that's pretty decent. We'll pull it in just a little bit more. Oh my god, what have I done there? That wasn't very good quality. Hold down Option, just bring it in. I should zoom in a little bit more so it's a bit more accurate, but that will do. So then maybe that one there that's got the fill, I'll take the fill off that, so the fill starts around that like black interior line, and then I'll start sending it. I'll Shift Command send it all the way to the back. Not bad, starting to work. I'm not loving that purple that much, but it's okay. This line work is a bit harsh. What have I got it set? 0.49. I might take that to 0.25. So I'm just going to downsize that a little bit. Same with this one. Whoops, next one up. .25. Yeah, I just want them to be there, but not too annoying. Okay, so that's not bad. We got this black one here. Let's send that to the back for starters. And that's sort of getting closer. I'm not really loving the way that's interfering with the bumper. So let's have a bit of a look at that. Nope, that is not cool. That is not cool. Okay, so let's fix that a little bit. So we're going to do ourselves a bit of a sort of key line around this. We'll put a little bit of curve on that. Come out like this. Come down here. We'll come sort of around this like this, and we'll come sort of down, and we'll come back in, and yeah, so that gives us, that'll be a line extension. So let's have a look at that. I'll colour that any old colour, get rid of that stupid colour thing, and we'll bring up back our good old swatches, and I'm going to colour it some contrasting colour so I can just see what it is. Okay, so that's not too bad, and we're going to do the same on the other side. Now I'm going to do this fairly speedy and with not as much care as I would do if I was doing it, you know, for myself, or for, you know, something that was not for this video. Okay, so let's jam all that through there, come back to here. So I've got two patches and I want my lines to sort of run around that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that black line and I'm going to make that just a fill. Okay, so I've got that big fill and I've got these two green patches here. What I want to do is weld all that into one chunky shape, and then the key line will run around the whole thing. There's a great tool up here called the Pathfinder. Let's just bring it up. And it's extra fun. We might go through it in the next video actually. But what I'm going to do is take all these parts and I'm going to weld them together. So this is the unite command. Join it together. Flip that around. Okay. And now you can see that when I turn, when I do that, actually completely stuff it up because I should have selected my stroke. Yep. Select my stroke. And maybe turn it up a little bit. And you can see now that what I've got is I've got a key line starting to run around. Now that needs a little bit of a tune up, but that is okay. So once we've got it, that's the main thing, is that we can have a look at how it is and we can start to like just tweak it up a little bit, pull that out a bit, just get the feel for how that needs to look. Maybe have that so it turns on the line. Maybe have that line so it just finishes there with that shadow. So it's something like that. Okay, that's not too bad. Okay, so making these kind of like little tweaks to the outlines, it makes it easier to print on colors as well. So there's a few different bonuses to it. But look, that's about where we're at the moment. Things are coming together. We need a bit more detail to really get things going. We probably need to sort that purple type out because I'm not really loving the way that's working. And that T and the O and the spacing to the O and the F, that looks a bit on the dodgy side as well. Okay, so all right, that's all things to fix in the next installment. So thanks everyone.